Sweden is full of weird and wonderful sights, and today I'm gonna show you a bit of both. I'm going on a road trip to the south of Sweden, and this will be a journey through history with iconic Swedish locations and some very strange places too. My first stop on the trip is the town of Oskarshamn in Småland. Oskarshamn is most known for hockey and for nuclear power. Some notable places in Oskarshamn include the island of Badholmen, that's right in front of us, and in that direction you can find the infamous pub Krkanen. Oskarshamn is also famous for boats to the islands of Öland and Gotland. Many people actually visit this town just to get out to the Baltic Sea and to Sweden's biggest islands. Anyway, it's time to move on now to the town of Calmar and to a very special museum in Nybro. About an hour south of Oskarshamn, you find the town of Kalmar. Here you can see Ölandsbron, a huge bridge that connects the mainland of Sweden to the second biggest island of the country. Kalmar is also famous for Kalmar Castle and for being one of Sweden's oldest cities. Between the 14th and the 16th century, Sweden, Norway and Denmark were part of the Kalmar Union, and that union was founded in this city. So this is a city full of history, but I'm gonna move on to some more modern history next. The world's only James Bond museum can be found in the town of Nybro, close to Kalmar. The museum was founded by a man called James Bond. Gunnar Schäfer legally took the name James Bond in 2007, so we can now literally say that his name is Bond, James Bond. And at his museum that has been running since 2002, you can see an amazing collection of memorabilia of all kinds. There are 15 UNESCO World Heritage sites in Sweden, and one of them is the naval town of Karlskrona. This is a town filled with history, both Danish and Swedish history, because it used to belong to Denmark until 1658. This is also where a Russian submarine ran aground in 1981, causing a major international incident. In December 2024, you can actually see a TV series about the whole incident called Whiskey on the Rocks. This is actually my first time in Karlskrona, so I look forward to exploring all the nooks and crannies and all the history. It's a bit strange that I haven't gotten around to visiting this gorgeous little town until now, but better late than never. This car graveyard has been closed since 1980, but it still serves as an interesting place for car history. It's called Bilkyrkogården i Kyrkö mosse, the car graveyard of Kyrkö bog. Some people have debated that these old cars are an environmental hazard, while others have argued that they're an important part of history that needs to be preserved. No one really owns this place after the 1980s, and no one takes care of it, obviously. So these old cars are rusting away more and more every year. I'm happy that I took the time to see them today, while they're still here. What I'm not so happy about is that this place is literally a bog. The road here was completely flooded. My poor shoes. The village of Önneköp has a bit over 200 people, but there's a lot happening here despite the small size. In 2006, this village decided that they want to become a micro-republic and secede from Sweden. And this is also where you can find Sweden's only Cannibal Museum. Arnold Wernersson is an adventurer who's visited more than 180 different countries, and he spent a lot of time with different cultures. He's visited the jungles of Africa, explored remote islands in the Pacific, and visited tribes of both pygmies and cannibals. In this museum, he shows off his collection of items that he's picked up during his travels. And he also has a story to tell behind each and every item. This isn't a normal museum, but then again, Arnold isn't a normal person either. And I mean that in the best possible way. If you can't get enough of things to do in Sweden, I also went on another road trip a couple of years ago. That was also in the south, but don't worry, I took another route, so you won't be seeing the same things twice. And if you enjoy this kind of thing, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you're feeling really adventurous, you could also check out the 3-star Vagabond Facebook group. I'm pretty nice sometimes, at least, over there. Malmö is Sweden's third biggest city, and it's a place full of history and culture and crime. This city is infamous for its mix of cultural events and architecture, and for being one of the most unsafe places in Sweden. Especially an area called Rosengård, where there's been a lot of shootings and bombings and other fun activities. There's a lot to see and do in the city though, so don't let that discourage you. This is Sweden after all, so it is pretty safe. Aside from amazing street art and a lively pub culture, Malmö also has a very strange museum. The Disgusting Food Museum can be found here, and I really don't want to go there, but I guess I'll have to. Here you can see everything from fermented fish to maggot-infested cheese. Oh, and roasted guinea pig too. I honestly think that this museum might make me throw up, but I'm curious anyway. It's like watching an accident. You can't look away even if it's horrible.
Oh, nice. Det är jättegott. Smakar lite som titta på Netflix. Vad är det?
In the southwest of Sweden, you can find a micronation called Lunia, created by the now deceased artist Lars Vilks. No one actually lives in this micronation, but there's around 1,000 citizens spread out over Sweden and the rest of the world. Lars Vilks was a very controversial figure in Sweden, and he was a strong proponent of free speech. He also created a lot of controversial pieces of art, one of which was a driftwood sculpture called Nimis. Nimis was built without permission, and the question about what would happen to it turned into a decades-long legal battle. There's also another piece of art called Arcs right next to Nimis. That one was also created by Lars Vilks. These two pieces of art were the foundation for the micronation of Ladonia. Lars Vilks basically got so fed up with all the legal battles that he declared this area an independent nation. A nation that's apparently currently at war with Sweden, the US and San Marino for some reason. If you fancy quite a strange tourist attraction in Sweden, then you should visit Ladonia and Nimis. The town of Älmhult isn't really known for anything. It's a small town in the middle of nowhere in the county of Småland. Except that this is actually the location of the first IKEA store in the world, and you can also see an IKEA museum here. I'm not gonna comment on this one. Is that a brain hat? Where can I get one of those? I think I just became the world's most bearded toddler. And of course, since it's IKEA, there's also a lot of things to buy at the museum. Metallica wrote history when they made the albums Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning and Master of Puppets. But in 1986, during a tour in Sweden, bass player Cliff Burton tragically died in a car crash. And this is the location of that crash. It lies close to the town of Ljungby in Sweden, and you can also see Cliff Burton's memorial stone here. I guess that I don't have much more to say, except that I have to give a salute to a wonderful musician and say, to live is to die. I'm not being morbid. If you know what it means, then you know. Helia Bita, Bridget of Sweden, was a Swedish saint from the 14th century. She was known for her kindness, and in her 40s she started getting religious revelations that she wrote down. She was canonized as a saint in 1391, and she's Sweden's most famous Catholic. And ever since 2003, you can also see her praying over drivers on Road 32. The statue of Helia Bita is a bit weird. It's quite unexpected, and it's not something you expect to see in secular old Sweden. But I'm not gonna complain about someone praying over my safety as I drive all the way back to Stockholm. I guess that this is a good way to end this video about some of the most interesting things you can see on a road trip to the south of Sweden. I hope you found it interesting. Like and subscribe, but most importantly, have a great day. Also, have a look at this video up here in the corner. It's gonna be fun.